Recording has started. Good day, everyone. We're coming before you because we have a very interesting, several topics to talk about today. This week, the Father had woken me up early in the morning, and unto me, it seemed like a new revelation for those who are, learning His calendar, going by the heavens and by the earth. So today is going to be very interesting for those who've been keeping a record, because as the living words say, that a fool will not observe time. A fool will not observe time. You can find that in the King James 611 Bible in the Apocrypha. So those who have the wisdom of Yah upon them will be observing, as the Messiah told us to watch the things that take place in the heavens and in the earth. And we are to record them because, believe it or not, keeping a record of things will come handy when you have to go back and check things, or you're verifying things, or you're lining things up according to the prophecies. Okay. So first, we like to give honors to our Father in heaven, for He is Yahuwah. He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We also give honors unto His Son, Yahusha The Messiah, for His Son is the second Adam, the anointed one, known as the Messiah. He is the door of the sheep, and the Hebrew letter for door is the left. And He is the light/eye of the body, and He is the fountain of the living waters, which is represented by the Hebrew letter Ayin. We also give honors unto our mother. Yes, we have a mother, for many of y'all not taught the truth. For the Messiah says this: wisdom is justified by her children. Wisdom is justified by her children. So what's done in heaven is done in earth. This is why we have earthly parents. This is why we have an earthly father and an earthly mother. Go back to the beginning, Genesis chapter 1. We also bid a shalom to the bride of Messiah, for you are made up of Israelites and Gentiles, males and females, bond and free, circumcised and uncircumcised. All who receive Yahusha HaMashiach are of His bride. We bid a shalom to the 144,000, for you are only Israelites, chosen by Yah Himself to accompany His Son to take down the fourth beast, which is Rome, and we know Rome is under the rulership of our brethren Edom. So they would take him down in his kingdom. As is written, the seed of Jacob will be ruling after the world of Esau is put to an end. That is written by the prophets. Also, when you study the name Jacob, means supplanter. He is not a thief, but he earned the birthright fair and square. He is a righteous man in the sight of Yah's eyes. For his brother sold his birthright out to him for nothingness. Really for nothing. You go back and read the scriptures. He sold out, showing you what kind of heir he would be to the promised seed. So this is why Jacob had to come and had to be the supplanter to take the place of his brother. If not, then the Holy One could not come and to redeem you, Adam. Very important. So when people talk about Jacob, you need to be careful how you talk about our forefather. Remember, he's in the kingdom. You haven't made it yet. We also bid a shalom to the nation of Israel, for soon the candlesticks known as the menorah will become one to form one candlestick, signifying that two kingdoms no longer shall be split anymore. They shall be joined as one kingdom, as written by the prophets. All right, let's get started. What you see before you is a picture, and one of the topics we're going to talk about today is the East Point, because many of us don't realize how important for us to know where East is. Okay, for when we read the living word, we see that we are instructed to face the East when we pray. Okay, also we see in the living word that the Holy One will come from the East. So it's very important that we look at this East Point. Okay, take this time now to pause your screen to meditate on the word east. Now, first, we're going to open up in prayer. So I'm going to ask my brothers to uncover your head. I'm going to ask my sisters to cover your head. Remember, we follow the commandments, Yah, for the physical go in hand with the spiritual. For those who are still learning these things and trying to get understanding about why we do these things, seek Yah out. Seek Yah out in the name of his son, Yahusha Mashiach, and he shall give you understanding. For those who are not able to participate, such as you might be on your sick bed, you might be in jail, or you might be in prison, or whatever the situation may be, remember you are covered through the renewed marriage, which is the new covenant. Okay? But all these things will be done in the kingdom to come. Many don't understand the beginning. If they understand the beginning, which is the past, then they will understand the present and the future to come. All right, let's face the east. East is where that light rises in the sky first thing in the morning, and the sun rises in the east direction. Okay? In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, Father, we come before you this day. We first pray for those who are seeking to learn the truth about your calendar. For there are many false shepherds in the way, for they want to gain status, fame, and riches. But your sheep desire to learn the calendar, and it's sad that many are taken. So, Father, expose those wicked shepherds. Bring what's out in the dark, bring what's in the dark out into the light, Father. Let them be exposed for their wrongful intentions. And those you have chosen to teach your calendar, Father, let it be so that the knowledge and information you give unto them will go throughout the four corners of the earth. And when it go out through the four corners of the earth, Father, let your people receive your understanding to understand your knowledge. Father, we also pray for our brothers and sisters, for we can truly see we're in a time of judgment now, as written by your prophets. We're in a time where you're telling us to prepare, for you are coming soon to gather us. So we pray for those who you chosen by your hand, that they hang in there, that they don't sway to the left nor to the right and give up what you have for them in the kingdom to come. We pray that they stand strong and don't sell out to the world for the breadcrumbs and for the peanuts. We pray that you strengthen them so they won't be fearful when the wicked comes and attack them or torture them or try to put fear in their heart. We pray for them. We also pray for our brothers and sisters' needs, because so much is going on where we are constantly oppressed and vexed. So we pray that you fulfill their needs and what they need. We also pray for those who are dealing with death, because sometimes it hurts so bad where it can affect us where we can't move on. And I ask you to break that type of grief, because many don't understand the end. Many don't understand what is to come. Many don't understand what death will bring. For death is the beginning of, for death is the beginning of what is yet to come. So remind them of your hope and of your promises so they can be strengthened and go on. And know this world here that we live in will not always be. For the world that you plan for us that is to come will be for eternity. And if anything, Father, I have not prayed in this prayer, I ask that you fulfill it according to your will. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, so be it. All right, y'all. We have lots to talk about, so let's get started. Let's first open up with the title page. So the title of this word today is, or this class session today is, the East Point, Dead Sea Scrolls, Reason of Tabernacles in October 2021. And if we have time, we'll answer First Enoch chapter 74, verse 5. If not, a video will be coming out soon before the next meeting, because this Saturday I was supposed to finish out First Enoch chapter 74. However, because what has taken place recently, which is we had the sun enter into the seventh sign of Mazzaroth, and we need to address that because I know many was not able to see the rising of the sun. So you probably wonder, well, what do I do now? But it's okay, because the Father always make a way for us. Okay, so if we have time, we will talk about that in this video. If not, there will be a recording coming out to close out First Enoch chapter 74. So when we meet back together on the heathen day known as Saturday, we can look at some other things before we go on our rest. Because in the upcoming month on the Most High calendar, in the 7th month, there will be no class. That is the time to get with him and rest in him and to revive yourself in his living word. It is also the time to understand these holy days and holy feast days because they are messages unto us. Very important. All right, let's get this out of the way. You know what, y'all? I didn't share my screen. I just remember. Thank you, Father. Did not share it. Let me see which one. Yeah, this is it. There, my screen is shared. So let me go to my photo that I have for today. Sorry about that. And then let me go to this. Take this time now to pause your screen to see what the title is for today. Okay, let me close this out. And most importantly, let us get the date for today. Now, the heathen's date today is September the 25th in the year of 2021 AD. Far as the time, now the heathen time is 12:39 p.m. in daylight savings time, and this is based on the East Coast. The correct time, and this is very important, because as we are keeping a record of the calendar, we have to keep a record of what is the correct time. The correct time is 11:39 a.m. Eastern daylight savings time. Eastern time, sorry, Eastern time. And you'll see why it's so important to have the correct time when you're doing the Father's calendar, especially when you're looking at the equinox days, such as the spring and the fall. As far as the year, we are in the 8th day from Adam, okay, which is the 13th day from creation. Far as the date of Enoch's 10-week prophecy, we're in the 8th week of his prophecy. And there is a 7-day prophecy. And if I'm correct, we're in that 5th day. So we don't have long, y'all. Father will be gathered us soon. Okay. We are in the 6th month of the Most High calendar, known as Elul, and Elul means nothingness, and there is a mystery with Elul. And if it's my Father will, I will share that with you. There is a playlist on the channel that talks about his calendar, as well a playlist that's deals with the mystery of the month. You can also check that out as well when you have time. Now we are in the 3rd week of the Most High calendar. The 3rd week. Now, FYI, the sun entered into Mazzaroth on the 16th day of the moon, which fall on the sun's 6th month and 31st day. So the first day of fall with fall started on y'all on the 17th day of the moon, which is the sun's 7th month and 1st day. Okay. Now, and the Father's telling me to take a picture because I know for my solar keepers, some of y'all going by the 364. And if y'all going by this equinox date, as I'm showing y'all, I'm still getting probably the same thing of what some of y'all get. I know some got different things, but I'm talking about for some who's going by the equinox date for September the 22nd. Okay, so as you see, I'm still getting the 7th month and first day. So take this time, y'all, to pause the screen and get a picture of that. That is something to look at. And matter of fact, I'm going to take a picture of it so I can add it to our notes today. You'll see why. Okay, got that. So far as the date for today, we are in the 18th day of the moon. Okay. As far as the heathen day, it starts on September the 24th to September the 25th from sundown to sundown. As far as the day of the sun, we're in the sun's 7th month and 2nd day. As you see, whoever is teaching you the calendar, it should consist of 3 lights. And it's the reason why the Father wanted you to follow the 3 lights, Israelites and Gentiles, because those 3 lights form one calendar. All right. So with that picture, I'm going to, for right now, just add it up here. And when I need it, I'll move it down. There we go. So we'll have it, because it's going to come in handy. All right. Let's first start with, let me see here, with some confirmations for those who are studying the Most High Calendar, because you know the Father would not lead you wrong. And I know some of y'all may be getting confused because many people have, different beliefs when it comes to the calendar. Okay. So this is how the Father worked. When we look at Torah said that we would have 2 or 3 witnesses. So what the Father did for you to help you to make sure you're following the correct thing, He has given us the heavens and the earth and His sacred books, which have the ancient prophets' writings. Some other confirmations we're going to look at today, so you can add to your list as you're learning the calendar, so that way you can see what lines up. And this is what will confirm unto you if something is right or wrong. Okay, because now I'm aware that many are now coming out. I'm talking about those who first didn't believe in Enoch's writings, or finally coming on the finally coming on the bandwagon. They are now going to these other books now, even the Dead Sea Scrolls and all that. So many gonna be coming out now. So I'm gonna let you know, y'all. There is some math calculations. There will have to be some math calculations done so you can make sure these things line up. Okay, because remember, our Father is all, and all is in Him. He is the inventor of all things, such as numbers, letters, words, mathematics, science, history, etc. So some of the confirmation that you want to look at when you start keeping your calendar record to make sure. I found one of the biggest errors was that when many start putting the calendar on paper, many don't go out and observe the heavens to make sure what they have on paper lines up to what's out in the heavens. And now you see why Genesis 1:14 is written unto us to say that the sun, the moon, and Mazzaroth are the 3 lights we ought to observe, because they are given unto us for signs, for seasons, for days, for years. Okay? So you just can't only follow the moon. You just can't only follow the sun. And at this time, I had not seen anybody only follow the stars. But you have to follow all these three lights. That is the must. Another witness he has given us to us in the heaven is the light. Many people are not aware that the light that we see first in heaven, they may think it comes from the sun, but that don't come from the sun. Go back to the prophets like Moshe in Genesis, Enoch in his writings, Ezra, and learn where that light come from. Okay, we even talked about this in the class, and it's already been quoted to give you a measure of that. Also, we have the night. Looking at the darkness. Okay, especially with the length of it. We also have the rains. Now, for my family who's on with me, do y'all know what is the calendar month that we had the first or former rains? Do y'all remember? I'll give you a hint. It's dealing, huh? Somebody was saying something.
What was the question again, sis?
I was asking, what is the month that we have the first, also known as the former rains?
It's in April, right?
I'm looking for the Hebrew month.
Oh, the Hebrew. Okay. Is it
What is the first month that we have the rains? The first month.
Abib?
Okay.
Yes.
No. Okay. I heard somebody else was saying something.
I said Abib.
Okay. I'll give y'all a hint. It has to relate to the flood. It has to relate to the flood.
In Noah's time?
Yes.
Is Ziph?
Ziph is our second month in the Israelite calendar. This is in the days of Noah. That's a hint unto you. Remember the days of our ancient forefathers, what they follow is different from the Israelites.
I forgot the name of it. Hold on. Hold on. The third month. Hold on.
As they're trying to find that answer, I want you two to think at home. Many are not aware that there was changes made in this calendar. Especially when you read Genesis. Okay. While they're looking for that answer, let me keep going. Also looking at the weather, such as snow, heat, coldness, and warmth. All these things are important to look at to make sure you're starting the Most High year correctly. Okay, he give us signs. Now for the earth. Here's another thing I feel I see many missing. Agriculture. Agriculture. This is why in the calendar, and I'll have to pull the calendar back up again. Let me see, can I pull it up? This is why in the calendar, I list those scriptures. So that way you can see the connection. For the calendar of the Most High Yah connects to everything, y'all. Everything. So let us go back to the calendar.
What was it like the Adar or?
No.
No. That's the Shabbat. I have it wrong. Hold up.
While y'all said, look, I'm going to take them to the calendar first and show them the scripture, why agriculture is so important to look at. Remember, the heavens give us the sign and the earth manifests it in the physical. Okay, this is why I often say the physical going hand with the spiritual. Sometimes you will hear me say the carnal go in hand with the spiritual. These things are connected together. Just like the heavens is connected to the earth. These two realms are connected together. Okay? We about getting there, y'all. All right. In Exodus chapter 32, verse 21, it said, in 6 days thou shalt work, but on the Sabbath day or the seventh day thou shalt rest. In earning time and in harvest thou shalt rest. This is very important. Also read Exodus 23, verse 12, and Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12, and Luke chapter 13, verse 4. So in the time that we are planting or sowing, remember what the road of Adam was, going back to the beginning, Genesis 2, to the time that we are harvest. It is very important that we look at agriculture for these feast days. These 3 solemn feasts, there are 3 solemn feasts that relates to harvesting. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, Shavuot, Pentecost, and the Feast of Tabernacles. It's very important to know this, and you're going to see why. Okay? These are the things I see many are not teaching the people. Now, if you're from the South and you come from a family who were farmers, we know about these things, and we know when these things should come forth and what season they should come in. And I want to throw this out there. My dad was a farmer, and he would tell me about wheat. He said wheat is only ripened in the summertime. Like I said, I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay? So what we harvest in the earth, or when we plant in the earth, should tie into the Creator's calendar, because that was the role of Adam. Okay, now going back to my family, did y'all find the answer? Let me change my screen. I can't find my screen I want to go back to. Okay, I'm gonna move this back over here so I can find it. Did y'all find the answer? What is the Hebrew month? What is the Most High month that He first gives us rain? That starts us off.
I'm going to take a guess because I was looking at Genesis 7 around the flood. That it says the second month.
It's the second month, but it's dealing with the Adamic year. What is the second month of the Adamic year? It's different from the Israelite year.
Oh, I don't know that part. Yeah.
Okay, let me give that to y'all. The second month of the Adamic year, because remember, there was a change taking place. Okay, when he spoke unto Moshe, or it's written in Exodus 12, that they started their year in Aviv, but in the Adamic year, they started their year in the 7th month. In the Hebrew tongue, they say Ethanim. In the Babylonian tongue, they say Tishri. So the first month of the rains is known as Bull, the 8th month. Very important to know, because if you don't know about this month, you're going to have a hard time planting seeds, because those who ever work the earth, we know that the earth can be very hard to work with. In order to plant seeds, the earth have to be watered first in order to break the earth up to plant the seed. Okay, so what is the month known as the latter rains? The latter rains, or the month of the last rain. What is that month known as, according to the Adamic year?
The 12th month?
Nope. Okay. This latter month happens in springtime, and that latter month is Aviv. Aviv. So Aviv, according to the Adamic year, is the 7th month. Let me change this over here. This is in the Adamic year before our father made a change. So in the Adamic year, Ethanim, Tishri was the first month, making Bull to be its second month. Then it made Aviv to be the seventh month in the Adamic year. All right. Some other confirmation unto you under earth besides agriculture is looking at animals' behavior, especially like the birds, how they migrate from how they migrate to certain places, because we know they migrate according to the temperature. So as it starts getting cold here where I'm at, they will soon be leaving certain type of species of bird and going to an era of warmer climate. Okay, so looking at animals' behaviors during these seasons. And I'm talking about 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Also looking at the plants, how did they come in for doing these seasons too, tells us a lot. Because for example, I gave you the wheat. We also know grapes are only ripen during summertime, and also dealing with the olive tree. Going back to the events of the flood, remember in the 4th month when Noah released the, I think it is a dove or a raven, it brought back an olive tree leaf branch. Tells you a lot. Another confirmation unto you is looking at the histories of the Israelites and Gentiles, because certain dates are given that will align up with the calendar. Because if you read the history of my people, they did give dates, okay, not only of the Most High calendar or what pertains to them, but it also gave you the heathen month and date too. That's something else to look at. A big ball player on that is Josephus. Okay, and I have seen some things written in the King James 611 Bible. Also looking at the prophets, such as Enoch, 1st, 2nd, 3rd writing. I see many error. They only read the 1st writings. They won't read the 2nd writings or the 3rd. Okay, they won't have that that other piece to the puzzle. Another one is Isaiah, Ezekiel, Amos. So looking at all the prophets' writings. And you're going to see why this is very important, because soon you're going to have many going to the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as the other sacred books. And they're going to bring more confusion. Okay. Looking at the Most High sacred books, such as, like I said, the 1611, Jubilees, work of Josephus. But we look at the Orthodox Jews, they have a list of the books that the Father has ordained for the masses to read. There's a big difference, because we know there are some books written by the ancient prophets, such as Ezra, that only the wise can read it. But these books here, they have a list. The Jews of Ethiopia has a list of the books that should have been in the Bible before the heathens start removing it, such as the Romans and the Protestants. So that's something to look at. Okay, these books, to see how everything line up. And the reason why I'm bringing this out, we are all aware that the Gentiles have been going in our books and translating them. And the problem with that, they have often misinterpret things or translate things. So this is what's causing a lot of confusion. So this is why the Father had his ancient ones to write these books a certain way, so that way his truth can still be revealed despite what the heathens have done. Oh, it's proof. And pretty soon I'll talk to you about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because you're going to have to do precept upon precept, because guess what? They got a hold of it too. Okay. Mathematics. Oh yes, there's formulas that's given to his prophets, such as Enoch and Ezekiel, that will confirm if your calendar is correct. And it's going to line up with the heavens and with the earth. Very strong confirmational proof unto you. And lastly is geography. And we'll talk about that on another day. I have a sister who was sharing some things with me. And when she's available, she will reveal that unto you. Now for the Dead Sea Scrolls. So now people are getting hyped up now, and they want to start reading the other books. And the ones I'm talking about, these are the ones who have platforms. Okay. All right. But I hope they don't run with it like they did with the other books. And what I mean by that, there was a book that many camps use called From Babylon to Timbuktu. And they will only show you certain passages. Well, come to find out, if you read that whole book behind them, you will learn there are Israelites today still in Africa. But most of the camps way back in the day would label a person who came from the continent of Africa as Ham. Okay, but if you read that whole book From Babylon to Timbuktu, you will realize it tells us that our people are still there. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to have to go behind and read. Wait, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go behind them and read it for yourself. Because the same thing that happened in the past, I'm telling y'all, they have misinterpret things. They're going to do it again and bring more confusion. So those who have a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls, you're going to find there is some translator errors. Remember, these are the Gentiles. So there are some errors. And by looking at all the sacred books of Yah, it's going to show you what their errors are. Also, there is mathematics to show you their errors. Okay? You can't get around that either. It's there. Also, the weekly format of the high priest. Many are not aware of this, but I noticed that the weekly format, okay, let me say this correctly. I noticed that with the week format, the days of the sun and moon rotates on it. There are no fixed days. Okay, that's a mystery to that. Especially for those who are keeping the 364 days. Because the problem that I see right now that you have, the sun is giving us 365.25 days. When you count that in the actual calendar days, you get 365. Now, Enoch talk about this. Okay. Then in the Most High appointed year, not with the Gentile year, because let me tell you, y'all, Gentiles don't do it right. They followed the Roman Catholic Church. They followed the Beast Church. But the year that the Father claimed is 366, the heathens don't have that in their year. So when the sun is giving you an extra day, which is 366 to the solar keepers, it's going to throw off the format that you've been following for the 364. Something to think about. Something to go to our Father, ask what to do. I'm going to tell you now, he gave you the prophets. He gave you their writings. Seek him to understand those things that's written unto you. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. But that weekly format, y'all, it's a mystery with that one. I'm going to say this again. For those who are reading the Dead Sea Scroll, you're going to notice that the days of the sun and the days of the moon rotate on it. You're going to also notice in the Dead Sea Scrolls that they keep a record of all three lights. And especially when it comes to that moon, there's certain things they mention about that moon. It's a mystery on why they mention that. So to understand the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm going to tell you, y'all, you're going to have to precept it with the other books. You have to go to your foundation. Torah, the gospel, and the prophets. Remember what the Messiah said unto us. You have the prophets. So when you look at the heavens, remember this. The heavens is Yah billboard. And he sent messages on his billboard. We just have to ask him to give us his spirit to understand what are the heavens saying unto us through his lights, which are the sun, the moon, and Mazarah. Now for the juicy part. Okay. So y'all probably seen there's been a lot of talk about tabernacles, how many are keeping it in September this year, way before the fall equinox. So guess what? The Father blessed me to come across some articles to show you why tabernacles had to be kept in October of this year. And it deals with one of the confirmations that I was telling y'all about. What's going to line up with the calendar. Okay. And it's also going to tie in to Enoch formulas, confirming that how we did the calculation was correct. So we're going to go to the first article, and this is by MSN. Okay. Trying to get the title of it first. It says Monday's unique moon phase usher in the first day of fall. Now remember, the Gentiles going to have a different insight versus what was given to the prophet Enoch. So again, you know, they labor their days a week after the Roman gods. Okay, and these Roman gods tie into the Greek gods, and you go back and you trace, it's gonna go all the way back to Nimrod. No different. But as King Solomon said, there's nothing new beneath the sun. Give it a while. It takes a while to refresh. All right, to my readers, are y'all there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Reader 1, I want you to read, let me see here. Start with this letter A, read all the way down, and I know there might be some hard words to say, so if you can't say the word, just say the first letter, okay?
Okay. Read to when?
Start with the letter A and read all the way down here.
Okay. A harvest moon will rise and reach its peak on September 20th, just 2 days before the autumnal equinox that marks the first day of fall in the northern hemisphere. Onlookers will be able to see the harvest moon at its peak Monday evening at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Time in the southeast just after sunset, after which the moon will appear full for about 3 days, according to NASA. During the equinox, the sun crosses the celestial equator, resulting in later sunrises and earlier sunsets. This full moon is unique because it rises at nearly the same time for several consecutive evenings, providing farmers extra moonlight to finish their harvest before fall brings cooler weather, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac. Many Native Americans tribes use different names when referring to the moon phase, including falling leaves moon, Ajawatwi, changing leaves moon, Anishinaabe, and the moon of brown leaves, Lakota, according to Centers for Native Studies and Native Cultures Centers.
All right, thank you, my sister. Now, I do want to, as you read this all, you can see how the Gentile have a different insight versus what the Father's calendar is. And I'm going to point this out when they say in this paragraph here, they said the moon would appear full for about 3 days. So when you look in the heavens, she do look like she's a full moon, but there's only 1 day for a full moon. Again, the prophets will clarify that unto you. We just got to get in the habit of observing the heavens more so we can recognize when she is that full moon or the full moon that day. Okay? It's only going to come from practicing. Another thing I want to point out to you, when it's talk about the equinox means equal. It's looking at the length of daylight to the length of night. Okay? So this take place, to have that to occur, is when the sun crosses the celestial equator. Okay, celestial means heaven. So remember, as we was talking about this in several classes, there's many circuits or many levels of heavens enclosing around the earth. So you have 10 levels. Okay, so those who have been following along with us, or if you're new, please look at the videos that cover First Enoch chapter 73, and I'll show you a diagram of what they would look like. Because when you read the scriptures, it said that he had his heavens to cover the earth like as one pull a curtain. So his heavens surrounds the earth in a form of a circuit. Now the first heaven, which is the first firmament, is clear. It is a globe, a ball, okay? And in this globe of ball that surrounds the earth or enclose the earth, it has doors and windows, okay? Which we call, well, today they say portals, but in the Hebrew tone for the door, we say the left, you know. But that crystal ball or that crystallized firmament that Josephus even confirmed, as well as Isaiah confirmed unto us, that is the first level of heaven that surrounds the earth. And through that heaven, or through that first level, that's when you have the lights to come in and out, but through those openings. Okay, let's see here. So in this sense, we're saying that when the sun crosses the celestial equator or the heavenly equator, it will cause the sun to rise later and the sun to set earlier. Okay, dealing with the fall equinox. Now, this is a paragraph that really caught my attention here. And it's going to give you the reason why we have to have tabernacles in October. Remember, tabernacles is a feast that's dealing with harvesting. So that feast is in celebration of the final harvest, okay, of all your agriculture, of all your produce you receive, and you're celebrating on that day, because that celebration is not is to give thanks unto Yah, because of that last harvest. You will now be prepared for winter rest, and you can endure the hardship of winter, because you know winter is very cold. Okay, so that's why that feast has to take place after the equinox. And this paragraph will explain why. And you're going to understand why the Gentile called this particular moon that is before the fall equinox the harvest moon. Okay, for it says this full moon is unique because it rises at nearly the same time for several consecutive evenings, providing farmers extra moonlight to finish their harvest before fall brings cooler weather, according to the old farmer's almanac. So those who have access to this link, you want to click on that and print this out, because I have another link that's going to give more detail. But you see, it gives the farmer what extra light, because the second article will explain why that's so important. Because we live in a time that's modernized. We don't really understand this or see this. Many people are not understanding what the Israelites had to do for these harvests that has to take place. So the second article can go more in detail. So let's go on that next. So this article is titled, "Did You See It? Stunning photos shown last night harvest moon as it lit up skies around the world ahead of the autumn equinox." Okay, so here's some beautiful pictures. As you can see, some people show like an orange kind of red kind of moon. I have seen that sometimes late at night with the moon and different when she in her different phases. So this is the index parts here. I'm going to read that, then I'm going to have reader 2 to start reading this article unto you. For the index says the harvest moon is the full moon that happened closest to the autumnal equinox, 2 weeks either side. It peaked last night, but will still appear bright and full in the night sky for the next 2 nights. The harvest moon rises and sets closest to the sunrise and sunset than other moon, up to 20 minutes. The name comes from the fact farmers could use extra moonlight, and longer lasting full moon to bring in the harvest before the invention of electric lighting. Do y'all hear that? This is the part that many do not understand. Not only the Israelites, but all the sons of Adam, their source of light came from the heavens. But because of modernization, because the invention of electricity, we really don't grasp why these things had to be done in a certain season and at a certain time, because we are spoiled. We have these conveniences, we have these delights. But once the Father start removing these things, we're going to begin to understand what he gave unto us and why he gave it unto us and how it helped us with harvesting and with sowing. So this is why it's very important that we kept the tabernacles in October instead of September. Now you're seeing that those who kept in September, they're out of order. They're not going to be prepared for winter. They acted in haste. Okay, let's scroll on down. We'll have my reader to read some of this unto you. As you said, they got some beautiful photos to look at. Now, this article goes in more details. Now, I am going to skip this section. It goes in details like how close or how soon the moon rises as the sun is going down, okay? Or when the sun rises in the morning, how soon the moon go down when that time. So you can read that paragraph for yourself. But here's the part I'm going to have my reader 2 to read unto you. Reader 2?
The one that's highlighted, right?
Yes. And then after that, read all the way down to, I tell you what, read that part first and I'll scroll up and highlight. Okay.
Okay. It says, unlike other moon names, the harvest moon isn't tied to a specific month. While it's usually in September, it could also occur in October. According to NASA, farmers use the light of the full moon closest to the equinox to extend their workday beyond sunset before electric light was invented.
For those who are watching this recording, you want to either print this article out or take your notes, because this is very important. What she just read into us, notice that they said that according to the Gentiles, this harvest moon usually occurs in September, but however, it can also occur in October. Why do y'all think that, family? Why do we have this variation? Some year can be in September, some year can be in October.
I think it has something to do with, the 13th month.
That's right. That's right. Again, it's confirmation to us that the heavens, not man is not adding this, that the heavens produce the 13th month. Now we see why. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to have my sister to read this part. Let's see. Hold on for a minute, sis. Okay.
The one that only that's in highlighted, right? In the blue?
Yes.
Okay. It says it was the only way they could gather their ripening crops in time for market. The full moon closest to the autumnal equinox became the harvest moon, and it was always a welcome sight. The U.S. Space Agency explained. The term became further entrenched in popular culture thanks to 1903 pop tune called "The Shine on the Harvest Moon." The harvest moon can occur anytime from a fortnight before to a fortnight after the autumn equinox, and is either the last moon of the summer or the first full moon of autumn. This is the fourth full moon of summer this year and will peak before the equinox actually happens, making it a summer moon.
Okay, just to summarize this page, if you technically, we know we have 3 months for each season. So technically, we're supposed to have 3 moons for each season, no matter what their phase are. However, because the heavens is producing an extra moon, this will cause for this year for us to have 4 full moons to occur in the summer season. This is how this is possible. Okay. You also see in this sentence that it says that that this event can happen either the last full moon of the summer, or it can be the first full moon of autumn. And the reason why we have that variation, yeah, it has to do with the 13th month and how it I'll say the dates that comes after it. Okay, that would determine it. So now we begin to see why the prophet Enoch's writings dictate unto us that we had to add a 13th month in the year of 2020 to 2021, because if we did not, we would have kept tabernacles not in the correct season. For tabernacle starts on a full moon day. A full moon day. And I have another confirmation that will prove unto you that is given by a sign in the heavens that tabernacle starts on a full moon day. That is what is what's the word? Supposed to be. Okay? Because we had some signs that happened in the past. And it's been that sign been going on for I have to go back in the records and see how often it happened. But that sign is there. Okay. Let's scroll down, see if anything else. It's got some more pictures. All right, y'all probably check that article when you can. Just like I said, all this stuff is proof unto us that Enoch's writings are true. Okay. All right, let's close this one out. So now you have your proof and evidence. The reason why we have to have tabernacles in October, because we need to gather more items, okay, to be prepared for winter. Remember, the Feast of Tabernacle is a solemn feast that pertains with harvesting, celebrating the fruits of your labor. Okay. So we're going to put this part on the hold, the answer to 1 Enoch chapter 74, verse 5. I'm going to do that in a separate recording. Now, this is the sign that I was mentioning earlier, another confirmation that tabernacles start on a full moon day, even in the Gentile writings. And I think even some of the church fathers, as they would say, have this in their writings. So we know in the year of 2014 to 2015, there was 4 blood moons. And now we're seeing what the prophet Ezra, also in the Greek tongue, they say Ezra, was saying that the moon is what the sign of the world. She is the sign of the feast days. And we have the proof here. Okay, because this moon landed perfectly on each feast day, which is Passover and Tabernacles. reminding us of not only the blood of what the Messiah shed unto us, so we can be redeemed back to the Father, but also reminding us of what is written in Revelation 14 and Matthew 13. For those who refuse to repent, you will pay for your sins and your transgressions you have made against Yah. And how you made that payment unto him, your blood had to be shed. So take this time now to pause your screen to look at that, because we will be coming back to this. Like I said, the Father is revealing some things unto me and helping me to get some more information for you, because this is one of the signs that's very important for us to look at and to keep record of. And this is how we know our Father is not about confusion. He gives you a visible sign to see. Remember, he's the Father of lights, so there won't be no confusion. That I'm going to save in the recording. Let me see if I save this in the recording or not. Yeah, I'm going to say that in the recording. One thing I will mention, in the year of 2015 to 2016, I have in my records that I remember that the new moon day started on the same day the solar began his year. Okay, so I will give that to you now. The new moon day started the same day the solar began its year. For remember, when the sun entered into the first sign of Mazzaroth, with this, which the Gentile call Aries, that is the last day of the sun's 12th month. So the next day would be its first year. So it's very interesting. And those who keep a record will know why this is so important. Okay, let us keep going. So this what got me stirred up, y'all. It was early in the morning. I woke up around 3-something in the morning. And y'all, I couldn't sleep. I said, okay, what's going on here? So I knew today, that day was the day where we could see the sun rising in the east point. So because I woke up so early, I think I woke up 3-something that morning, y'all. It was dark outside, so I had a way to go. So I decided to say, okay, well, let me see if I can figure out or get some coordinates, okay, of where the sun gonna rise, so I can make sure I'm in the right spot so I can see it. So I go to my weather app, okay, and I'm looking at the time, and this is in my area, my time where I live. So I'm looking at the time when the sun will rise, and this is what I see. Let me blow this up. In my area, the sun will rise, and this is in daylight saving time, at 6:57 a.m. Now, y'all know me, I had to compare in my mind. So I know the sun would be rising at 5:57 a.m. And on that same day, the sun would be going down at 7:03 p.m. And when I convert that in the correct time, it's going down into 6:03 p.m. Now, y'all, this is correct, because those who've been keeping record, we know that the sun should be rising and setting in the 6 o'clock hour. In the 6 o'clock hour. And you'll see why this is all important. So when I saw these numbers, this is what else I saw. I said, wait a minute. The sun rose about 3 minutes early. If the sun had waited to rise 3 minutes later, it'd been perfect. It'd have been 6 and 6. In daylight saving time, they would have 7 and 7. But it's actually 6 and 6. Remember, There's a reason why the Father picked these numbers, because what do 6 remind you of, family? Man, Adam. Very important, because that was the day our Father made Adam. And, he called the male and the female Adam, and they was made in his image. Okay. Also, in this second photo, what you see is the length of the daylight. And on that day, it's about 12 hours and 6 minutes. And the time until sunrise, it took about 2 hours and 14 minutes. Okay. Now, that was probably the time I woken up. Now, let me tell you what else caught my eye. I've been sharing with y'all that the reason why we don't have 12 hours for daylight and 12 hours of night anymore, because Yahuwah has spoken through one of his prophets, Asher prophetess. And you can check that out in the video description box. Go to Yahuwah prophetic message and listen to the prophetic message he's speaking unto the 12 tribes. And he tells you why. But I had shared with y'all this in the past, that the earth has shifted. And this is why on this day, which they call the fall equinox, we see it being 12 hours and 6 minutes instead of just 12 hours. Okay. So on timeanddate.com, let me go here so you can see. I'm going to go ahead and close this back out. They give us the dates. It's very important date and time. Now, this date and time based off of Arad Israel. Okay, this is what based off of. In the year of 2021 AD, and this is very important to look at. Very important, because many people don't pay attention to specific details. There's 2 types of time to keep up. You have actual timing versus like whole calendar days. So this is why in some of the reports you will see me comparing the actual timing versus the whole calendar days, because it helps you to understand what the prophets are saying unto you. So when we go to the year of 2021, right in here, on the fall equinox day, it says that this happens on September the 22nd at 10:21 p.m. in Israel Daylight Savings Time. Now, the first thing you're going to say, well, what did that mean? What is this saying unto us? What is saying that the sun enters into the 7th sign of Mazavoth, okay, at 10:21 p.m. and in Israel Daylight Savings Time. Now, when you convert that into correct timing, you would say 9:21 p.m. This is very important to know, because then you're going to have an idea on what day the sun is going to rise on the east point. Now, 10:21 p.m., I ought to know this off the top of my head. 10:21 p.m. occurs after the sundown on September 22nd. Therefore, the sun is going to rise on the east point on September the 23rd. This is how I know this, on September the 23rd. Very important to know this, because on a calendar, we don't have specific timing. We look at whole days. In other words, we can't split the day, say part of it's this and part of it's that. No. For his calendar, we go by the whole day, which I took a picture of. Let's go back to the picture. Bring this picture down here that I had copied. So you can see it better. Okay. So this is what I'm saying to you. When the sun entered the seventh sign of Mazzaroth, I can't split this day and say part of it's the 6th month and part of it's the 7th month, or part of his summer and part of his fall. Can't do that. You have to put it on the next day. Read Enoch's writings and you'll see why. The channel has already been over chapter 72. Go and watch that video to get the notes on it. But even Enoch would say the same thing unto you. It says that when the sun entered to the 7th sign of Mazzaroth, this is a sign unto you, Adam. This is the last day of the sun's 6th month, which I got 31 days. Therefore, the next day will be the first day of fall, which is the sun's 7th month and first day, falling on the heathen date. Look at this, at September the 23rd at sundown, ending on September the 24th at sundown. Notice that in comparison to this, on day 16 of the moon's 6th month, the sun is in its 6th month and 31st day. When you convert that to the heathen's day, it falls on September the 22nd at sundown. That's at night, at evening, right? Ending on September the 23rd at sundown. And what's in between that? Morning. Morning. When the sun rises on the east point. So if you don't do your conversions correctly, you can be observing the sun on the wrong day for your east point. All right. So another thing that got my attention, besides knowing that the earth has shifted by 3 minutes, and we'll talk about that, was looking at, let me see where I'm at, the date of the full moon. Let's look at that right quick. Because when you look at the full moon, the heathen date is for September the 21st at 2:54 a.m. So when you compare that to the date of the equinox, that is what? A day ahead. A day ahead, according to the Gentile timing. Okay? A day ahead. So let's click on this link here. As you see, confirm the date unto you, September the 21st at 2:54 a.m. This is in Israel time. That's the day when the moon will be full 100% illuminated in light at that time. So because that timing take place before sundown, the full moon day will be from September the 20th at sundown to September the 21st at sundown. Okay? September the 20th at sundown, and at September the 21st at sundown. Very important. And this full moon day fell on the Most High Calendar day, because I know that my picture don't show you the 2 weeks. But if you go in the next row above, you will find the full moon will land on the 15th day. So like I said, it's a day before the equinox day. So now again, we begin to see why it's so important that we follow the Most High prophets. Because we know Feast of Tabernacles starts on the 15th day, which is a full moon day. And we cannot have tabernacles in summertime. It has to fall in the fall time. The fall. Now, as far as I know, have I ever seen this always been perfect? I have to go back and look at my records, but this is what it should be. What it should be. Okay. Tabernacles should be in fall time, not in summertime. See here. We already talked about the equinox. So now, the next part that got my attention was this. I went to timeanddate.com because I wanted to see what would be the time for the sun to rise and the sun to set in my ear, looking at the comparison. But first, let us look at Israel, what they have on this day of the equinox. Okay. So to see the sun rise in the east point, it will fall really on the next day. Instead of September 22nd, it will fall on September on the 23rd, because this takes place in the morning time. So fall September 1st. Hold on. I'm coming back in, y'all. Let me see here. Trying to get my camera. There we go. I'm coming back in. Thank y'all for staying on. My computer screen went completely blank. And this time, I know it's not memory because everything I cleaned out this morning, I want to make sure nothing interfered with this lesson. Nothing. So we all know what's that about. So once I bring this up, I'll probably have to mute my mic and get myself off. So as I'm bringing this up, what I was about to show y'all, I was looking at the graph they have for the day when the sun rises on the east point. And by looking at that graph, it showed me that for this year, it would rise at the 90 degree. At the 90 degree. And I'm like, yeah. And when it comes to math and geometry, I'm like, oh, 90 degree. So it led to this revelation, which will help you see things clearer and better. Now, I did get a chance to look at prior years. I did see a variation. Sometimes it can be 90, sometimes it can be 89. But for this year, it was on 90. Okay, which is a good number to work with when you're doing mathematics, because then it gives you the formulas you need to do the next following years. So I'm going to close some other pages out. Go ahead and hit my screen share. So you might get some feedback because I'm coming in now. Okay, hit my share screen. Okay, and like I said, I look rough. There we go. And let's see here. Oh, I got to. There we go. Sorry about that. Like I said, it's always more than one way to, like they say, always more than one way to skin a cat. Oh, let me hit my share screen. Okay. Here, and we're going to go back to timeofday.com. We're going to look at, the sun time for Israel. So this is the sun time for Israel. Now, if we look at, we said the equinox day, when we get the correct date, and that's another thing that you have to do correctly. Because unfortunately, I don't have the dual screen where I can really compare. So with the equinox day, we know it started on September the 23rd. September the 22nd. But the sun is not going to rise on the east point until morning, which is September the 23rd. So this is why we're going to look at September the 23rd, year 2021. Sorry for that typo. But before we go there, to my family, what is the sign of Mazzaroth that the sun is entering into on the last day of the 6th month?
The 8th sign.
Okay, my sister said the 8th sign. What is the 8th sign? Do you remember? If not, don't worry about it. Do I have anybody with a different answer?
Well, it's still going to be the fall.
But what is the first sign for the fall? What sign begins that? The 8th sign do fall and fall. But what is the
sign.
first sign? The 7th sign.
The 7th sign.
Okay. Very important to remember. Even though it's the sun's 6th month, but when it comes to Mazzaroth, it's going to be the 7th sign. 7th sign. In the Gentile tongue, they say it is Libra, the scales. Okay, this is a sign of judgment. Okay, so now that we know that the sun gonna rise on the east point on the 23rd day, we're gonna look at this graph that they have on timeofday.com. And when I saw this graph, I'm like, okay, my mind began to start connecting dots and all this kind of stuff. And I said to myself, why did I not see this years ago? But it's one of those things. Hey, everything happened for a reason. So on the 23rd day, which is the morning time, the sun rises on the east point. And what I noticed that it rises directly on the 90 degree, which is in the east direction. So those who have a hard time like me, because that day was cloudy, it was raining, and I couldn't see the sun in the east nor in the west because I had to work too. So another backup is getting a compass. And when you know the degree or the direction according to your coordinates of when what point the sun rose on, all you have to do is take your compass and you can find your east point. And then you can take a picture and landmark the east point. That's another way you can cheat. The first way I have provided y'all a way of cheating, if you miss your east point, is watching the sun go down the west. Because if you watch the sun go down the west, directly behind you is the east point. That's another way to cheat. Okay. But notice here, as the sun moves throughout the day, and when it goes down, we all know that the sun goes down the west. But notice that the degree or the coordinate is 270 degrees. Okay, right on the horizontal line, right directly, right? So why is this number bigger than 90? Do I have anyone that want to take a guess? Why is this number bigger than 90? If someone got a calculator, subtract 270 from 90. What do you get?
180.
180. So when you go outside and you face the east, to your right is from what? From the east, and looking around, going towards the west, is 180 degrees. This is why we see the sun on our right and not on our left. It's very important to notice because it's going to line up with what Ezekiel has. In Ezekiel, I think chapter 46, that for vacation time, I want y'all to read, because then you understand about the four corners and why they come in certain doors. Okay, this is why we see the sun only in that direction, because when the sun leaves the first firmament or the first heaven, okay, it's still moving on its circuit, but it's in a different realm. So it's invisible to us. It leads throughout one of the doors, right? Okay. So by knowing this, to my right, which is what, east, south, and west, that's your clock, as well as your compass. This is how you're going to know what time it is. We don't go by minutes or seconds. We go by the hour. Okay. This is also going to give you, I don't know the correct word for this. I don't know this be what, because one of my sisters mentioned it, but it's going to give you your concordance. So for this year, it's 90 degrees on September the 23rd in the morning at the rising of the sun. So in Israel time, it was at 6:27 a.m. When we convert that to the actual timing, it was at 5:27 a.m. in their timing. Okay. And it went down at 6:34 p.m. in their timing. But when we convert it, it'll be 5:34 p.m. Okay. Same thing with the moon. We see it from east to south to west. We'll talk about the other two corners, but I'm just trying to give you an idea how you keep up with time. This is how you do it. This is how our ancestors did it. They didn't have watches. We didn't have internet. We didn't have all this modern stuff. We used what was written in Genesis 1:14. That's what the sailors used to get around. Now, I hope this has connected some dots, not only for my family that's on with me, but for those who are watching this recording. Because what the Father's showing you, you can do this, but you got to go out there and practice it. Okay? This is how you're going to know this site is correct. You got to go out there and practice it. Can't be a paper calendar. You got to be a calendar observer. All right? Now, for those who want to say the equinox was in the prior days, as you see here, it will fall on the coordinate, the 89th degree for that year. Well, for this year, from 2021 to 2022. Because the Most High year overlaps in the heathen years. Okay? And then you see after the 23rd day, the sun do rise on that east point for again. So you have another chance to go and witness it and compare your results from the day before to the day to the next day. Okay, which brings me to this. That was the Israel time. So I looked it up in my time where I live, which I'm glad I did because it helped me to see this clearer. I was able to figure out how much did the earth shift, and the earth shift by 3 minutes. Because if the earth didn't shift, it'd have been perfect. 12 hours for daylight and for night. So where I live, the sun rose in daylight saving time at 6:57 a.m. But when you convert it to my time, to the correct time of the Most High, it'll be 5:57, 3 minutes before 6 o'clock. And then it's set in 7:03 p.m. daylight saving time, Eastern time. But when you convert it to correct time, it's set on 6:03 p.m. Right on, well, 3 minutes after the 6 o'clock hour. Okay. As you see the concordance, it rolls on the 90 degree and it's set on the 270th degree. Add these two numbers together, you get what? 360. 360. Why? Because the sun moves in a circuit. It moves in a circular path. And it came in our realm in the first heavens at the 90 degree. And it left out through the door at the 270 degree. So the difference between these two numbers is 180 degrees. And it would keep on moving in this circuit that we cannot see because it's in a different heavenly realm to complete 360. 360. And when you look at 360, I know we'll usually add 3 and 6, but when you look at 360, if I look at each of them being a number, 0 is a number, 3 is a number, and 6 is a number, there's 3 numbers. So you're probably saying, well, how can she get 10 out of there? I just look at that, I got 3 numbers, which make what? Completion. That's what 10 is, completion. Remember the Father, he has a beginning and an end. He's the Aleph and Tau. And after the Tau, which is the end, then a new beginning point start over. Okay? So when I saw this, y'all know me with charts. So here I have a chart for you. The 4 seasons, which are going to tie into the 4 corners. So now that I can see how the sun is moving this year, I now can tell you what direction the sun is going to rise and set throughout the year. And because I know that, then I'm going to know that when I'm in spring, summer, fall, and winter. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. So for spring, someone already gave me that answer, but give me that answer again. The sun's, what is the sun month for spring when it enter into Mazzaroth to get the spring equinox? What is the sun month when that take place?
Was it a bid or?
You're getting close, but think about it. You got to talk it out. Remember how Enoch wrote it.
Hold up. Bib.
That's the
sign has,
the month of,
go ahead.
The month of Abib, the first month.
That what your sister said. Remember how Enoch wrote it. This is how to talk it out. On the sun's last day in its 12th month,
Yeah.
it entered into the first sign of Mazzaroth that the Gentiles call Aries.
Yeah. Yes.
That's how you talk it out. Because our habit is we want to put first with first. If you do that, you're going to go wrong. So for summer, when the sun entered into the, in the sun's 3rd month, on its last day, it's going to enter into the 4th sign of Mazzaroth that the Gentile call Cancer. Then the other signs, y'all gotta help me out because I don't remember most of them. After fall, it kind of go downhill for me.
Me too.
So when we get to fall, that we are in now, when the sun is in its 6th month, right? 6th month, yeah. It entered into the 7th sign of Mazzaroth. Okay. So when we get to winter, when the sun enter into its 9th month, when the sun, let me say again. On the sun's last day of its 9th month, it entered into the 10th sign of Mazzaroth. Notice the pattern here. Mazzaroth is ahead by 1. So with the sun's month, to remember what is the sign of Mazzaroth, it's going to be ahead by 1. So we know we only have 12 months and we only have 12 seasons. Therefore, 12 go at 1. Okay. So when we get to the 3rd month, it's going to be a month ahead. 1 plus 3 is 4. When we get to fall, 6 plus 1 is 7. Let me get the winter. 9 plus 1 is 10. That's how you can remember it. Then it starts all over again. Going back 12th month, in its last day, it enter into the first sign of Mazzaroth. And as you see, the degree is going to change, which brings us to this. This is why the total number would be 360. Remember, these lights, the sun and the moon, moves in a circular path or a circuit. Fathers deal with circles for these lights' paths. This is why in our realm we see what? Them moving half of a circle or half a pie, and then they disappear. They go to one of the doors and then come back. Okay. As you see, I list the heathen months. I've named their God because we're still learning. And this is how people learn best. They have to like line everything up so they can see the big picture. But pretty soon, you're going to do away with this, because this ain't going to be in his kingdom. You're going to be talking like an Israelite. First month, second month, or you're going to say the Hebrew name or whatever language that he given unto us to speak. That day will be coming. So for this year, for spring, the sun rose in the 90 degree on the east point, and it set down on the 270 degree. Notice what happened in the spring is the same that happened in fall. So that was pretty easy. But for summer, because daylight is longer, right? We're going to see the sun on the day where daylight is longer than night. It's going to rise on the 62nd degree point. I get this information from timeanddate.com. Again, how we check, we go out there and we witness it to make sure that this site is right. And it rose in the east direction. Okay. Actually going to be east north. East north. I need to put that in there. East north. And you'll see why. So it's going to rise in the east north position, and it's going to set in the west north position. Makes sense because daylight is longer. Then when we get to winter, it's going to rise. Then this is during the day when you have daylight being shorter than night. So when it's the shortest, you're going to have the sun rising in the morning on 117 degree in the east-south corner or quarter. And it's going to set in the 243rd degree in the west-south quarter or corners. Remember, we get into the language of him talking about the four corners of the earth. And you're going to see why. So for winter, the sun will rise in the east-south quarter or corner, and it's going to set in the west-south corner, or I probably get my words tripped up, or corner. And then it's going to reset itself again and do it all over. So when I was looking at that format in this chart, I noticed that the sun always reset itself in the east. So it starts in the east. That's why you see me put the number 1. Let me bring this down so you can see it clear. It's going to start in the east first. And because it's working itself, because we're going towards summertime, it's working itself in the quarter or the corner of the east-north. So that's why you see me write down number 2 below north. Then it's going to work itself back up and come back to number 4. So it's like 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. On this east point in spring, daylight and night is equal. Then it's going to work itself to become daylight longer than night at this longest point. And when they get to that point, it's going to work itself back to daylight becoming equal to night at the reset point. Then it does the same, but in the opposite way, starting from the east point. Daylight is going to be shorter than night, working itself in the quarter of the east and south point. Okay, so the sun is going to rise in the east-south point. Okay, then it's going to set in the west-south point. Okay, so it's going to work itself down to the south, towards the west, where daylight is shorter than night. That's the season we are in now. Then once that is completed, on the day on the day where daylight is the shortest and night is the longest, then it's going to turn itself back around and work itself back to daylight being equal to night at the reset point. So while I was looking at this, y'all know me, I look at patterns. What this remind me of is infinity/eternity, which means the never-ending, boundless, endless. What was the prophet that talks about this? Enoch, second Enoch. And we have a small scripture in the book of Revelation that talks about the counting of time. This also relates to the eternal kingdom that will last forever. This is why what the wicked shall do, what they gain now is only for a short season. But what they're going to receive is going to be eternal. They don't even understand what is coming because they take our Father's silence as if he's not going to do anything. They think very foolish. So if you look at that pattern, I didn't want to bring that pattern up because I have to do research, make sure it's not a paganistic symbol. But that pattern right here reminds me of, you know, how you see an 8. I see an 8 in it. And this 8 is like sideways. And we know 8 represent what? New beginning. 8 is also tied in Jubilees. I said, well, how is 8 equal Jubilees when Jubilees is 50? When you take 8 times 50, you get what? 400. 400 is the number represented by Tau, which means what? The end. For the end shall bring what? The new beginning. This is why the prophet Enoch prophesies to us that the new beginning will begin in the 8. It's there, the new week. Because you know, after 7 comes 8, and 8 starts a new day. Let me show it to you. You can see it better. Let me put a chart in here. Y'all know me with these charts. It's here, right here. We're on the 8 block so you can see this. So somebody help me out. How many days in a weekday?
7.
7, right? So got 7 days. We're gonna count 7 out. So what's the number come after 7?
8.
8. Now it's 7 days makes up a week, right?
Yes.
Am I right? 7 days make up a week, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So let's go ahead and merge this little area together so we know that's our week. So this is a week. So if this is a week, what do 8 bring?
The first day,
The first day of what?
the next week.
The next week. So 8 is the beginning. Uh-oh, my cursor don't stop. Come on. Okay. The beginning of a new week. This is why he have the Enoch's writings to write his writings as weeks, 10 weeks. And within those 10 weeks, you would, how can I say this? If you start from the time of creation, you're going to get a total of 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And the third week marks the infinity, eternity, which is day 15. Okay. All right. Because if I would make columns here to help people understand the concept of 7 and the theme of 7, how 8 brings a new week. If I have brought this column on this side below 1, what is 7 plus 1?
8.
Say it nice and loud so the family can hear that's watching the recording.
8.
Say it again. I can barely hear you.
Sorry, 8.
8. Do y'all see that? Still makes the beginning of a week. So, like I said, he talks to us a lot in numbers. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Let me minimize this so y'all can see what he brought to my mind. I ain't gonna lie. My I was like, okay, Father, I see this now. I see this. I see where you're going. So this is for this year. So y'all know me. I'm gonna come up with a form to have for each year because this is gonna be very important to do to write all this stuff out. Because I have a feeling that once we learn the pattern, then we'll be able to figure out what is the coordinate that the sun gonna rise on the east point, but not only on the east point, but also dealing with that east north point, dealing with the solstice and the what's the word I'm thinking about? And the south, yeah, and the east south point dealing with winter. We're ready to figure this out. It's there. We just got to do the math. Okay. And this is how we're going to know if something abnormal happens, because we are what? In tune with the heavens and earth. Because I can see it. I can see like things moving around in circles, like everything just winding, and the earth is in the center. That's what I see. I see what he sees. I see him looking down, and I can see the things moving and taking place. That's what I see. Okay, let me see, can I memorize this? And then we blow it up and take our time and dissect this. I have to move this bar out my way so people can see what I see on this form. I got to memorize this a little bit more. Then I'm gonna blow it back up. Okay, this is better. So what I did, y'all, I drew me 2 circles. One circle representing the earth, and the second circle, which is the outer circle, representing the first level of heaven. But remember, there's 10 levels of heaven that surrounds the earth. And the first level heaven is the globe. Isaiah, Josephus, and many other, even Enoch writers will confirm that the first heaven, which is that crystal ball or that crystallized firmament that we see with our own eyes, that has the doors in it that allow the lights to come in and out, okay, surrounds the earth. It is not a dome. That half circle mess, that's lie. It's a full circle. I don't know where they get that mess from when it comes to the firmament of the heaven. Okay. So because I know the east is on the 90-degree point, this is how I knew to draw a cross. Okay. Upon these circles. And this is how I was able to get the 4 corners. You have a corner that consists of north going to east. Then you have a corner going from that consists of east going to south. then the third corner of south going to west, then the fourth corner of west going to north. Very important. With everything that we learned from Enoch so far, y'all, this chart is going to help you to understand and help you to see the rising and the setting of the sun as well as the moon. It's also going to help you understand what was written in the gospel, what takes place right here. And to one of my sisters, you shared this symbol with me dealing with a circle and a cross, and that's what I'm talking about. But who will know that the Father will have me to draw this because it deals with the calendar. We want to understand how things move, how things come in and out through his heavens, through his firmaments. And then what fathers let me know, you soon will be like your forefathers, where you can look at the heavens and you can know when these things shall appear. And when these things don't appear, then you know something is out of the order. Father's getting your attention on something. Okay. So I did some math. I want to summarize this up. Because the sun rose at 5:57 a.m., 3 minutes before 6 o'clock in the morning, that's how I knew that the earth has shifted. Just by looking at time. Time tells me a lot on the equinox day. Okay. So it's the way to convert that to get your degree to see how much has it shifted. All right, let me blow this up so we can dissect this going from top to bottom. So as you see here, it's very important that you put your date so you can compare each year with the information you get. Okay. Then we already talked about infinity / eternity, and that 8 means number beginning. And when I look at my east point and my west point, I get the number 3. For south and north, so far I get 1. That's what I got so far. Remember, this is a continuing work as the Father showed me more things. So looking directly on that east point, let's start from the bottom. This is my 90 degree. For those who ever had taken geometry, remember that device we had to use called a protractor. And a protractor is a device that can tell you what is a 90 degree. It is the corner of a square. That's why he said what? The 4 quarters of the earth. Do y'all see how this all follow in line now?
Yep. Yes.
And we know Israel is what? The center of the earth. Because it said Jerusalem is the center or the mother of us. This is very important. This is why we look at the times and dates for Israel with the moon and the sun to compare to see if they're working in their proper order. And if they're not, what is the prophecy? What is the word that the Father is telling us? So we can see the fulfillment of the prophecy. So as I'm working myself up, this is what's coming to mind. I know when the sun completes the first part of the circuit for daylight, it's going to be 12 hours, which is 720 minutes. But when that sun leaves, I heavily ran, which is the first firmament, it's still moving in its circuit. Okay, this is the sun determine how much night we will have. And when it comes back to that beginning point, you would get 12 hours. Okay, so this is where I got 720 minutes. When I convert it to hours, 720 divided by 60, you would get 12 hours. Then you see me putting a whole bracket because we got one side for night and one side for daylight. In the Hebrew language, many people are not understanding the context of the verse. But if you read Josephus' writings, you understand there is a difference between Sabbath day and Sabbath service. Again, hint, we just read an article. They didn't have electricity, y'all. So a lot of stuff had to be forming in the light. And when I get to Passover, it's going to blow your mind why we had to do the lamb between the two evenings at the time of the going down of the sun. Okay. So this is why you see me draw a big bracket, because I'm including this side over here of the circle and that side over here, which is daylight, as one whole calendar day. And when you break it down, when you add 12 plus 12, you get 24 hours. Then if you convert that to minutes, meaning that 720 plus 720, 2 times itself, you get 140. You get 1,440 minutes, which remind me of what? Of the 144,000. You're beginning to see why he's picking these numbers. Everything relates to each other. Then you see me put in here, boxed in, number 6, letting me to remind me that usually the sun should rise either on the 6th hour or within the 6th hour. Why? What take place? In his commandment, he tells us to pray morning, noon, and evening, and face the east. And we know morning is what? 6 o'clock. Noon is what? 12 o'clock. And evening is what? 6 o'clock. Because that sun is what? Represent the going down between the two evenings. For he is the father of light. He end his day in light and he start his day with light. And this is why we have Sabbath service, because they couldn't see, y'all. This is why they go to the temple in the morning. They need daylight. They didn't have electricity. So that take care of that part. And I do want to say this again. See how these light form one? It's always going back to one. Representing the Elohim head. One. Representing the institution of marriage. One. Who is that third one of the two that makes one? What is that make male and female one? I'm going to give you that mystery. Spirit Yah. Just like the Father, the Son, and wisdom, they are one because they have the same mindset. They are connected. They don't work against each other. Do you hear me, brothers and sisters? They ain't contrary to one another. They don't put each other down. They work together, forming one. Okay, now let's go to the next quadrant. Looking at the south quadrant. Okay. Here, I'm going to start here. When you start on the south point, because this is 90, I had put it at 135. Because the difference between 90 and 135 is 45 degrees. So each point, this light is moving from corner to corner 45 degrees. So from the east point to the south point, 45 degrees. From the south point to the west point, 45 degrees. From the west point to the north point, 45 degrees. And from the north point to the east point, 45 degrees. What is 45 times 4? 360. Okay. So on the south point, this is where you get your noon and midnight. Now the moon can give you some time, and once you begin to learn its phases and how it comes out, but there's one particular phase you can't go wrong, and that is the full moon. For the full moon is what? Opposite of the sun. So the full moon rises in the east and shine all night long from the going down of the sun until the sunrise. So when the moon get to the south point right here, that is your midnight hour. Remember what he told the children of Israel? In the midnight hour, I will cause the destroyer to pass over you. Exodus 11 and Exodus 12. I got to put that in there. I got to write that on my sheet. Destroyer. That's when he sent it. That's when he sent him in the midnight hour, which tie into another prophecy that took place is the darkness. The darkness upon the cross. I got to write that on my sheet. So we had the destroyer coming at midnight. And we had the darkness upon the cross when the Messiah was crucified to come in the noon hour. One of the prophets that we hit on that is Amos. And again, for the destroyer, which is the Shin, Yahusha HaMashiach. You can find that in Exodus 11 and 12. I'm just amazed at how everything's connected together. So when you read Ezekiel 46, you can understand why certain things come in the South and leave out the South. Go back and read it. And then you understand why he come from the East when he's coming to conquer the fourth beast with the heavenly host. Hallelujah. So in the same course, y'all know me, I just like math. I like to tick, 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 because according to the scripture, he was put up on the third hour. So when I calculated, it's the midpoint between the east and the south point, because the east point is 6 o'clock and the south point is 12 o'clock. So in between 6 and 12 is 9. And when I converted from the Hebrew time, when I convert it to the Hebrew hour, it becomes the third hour. The third hour. Anybody say, how that take place? Because when you break up these quadrants, you get 6 hours. On this point, it started 1, then somewhere here's 2, then you got 3, then after 3, 4, 5, and then it end on 6. I need to write that down so we can have it. So 2, we go here, that's 3, then 4 and 5, then 6. Do y'all see that theme of 6? Because what, half of 12 is 6. What's the noon hour? 12 o'clock. Half of that is what? 6. Because daylight consists of how many hours, my brothers and sisters? How many hours do daylight consist of?
12.
Somebody say that again.
12.
12 hours. So this is like a clock. So you will have 1 on this center point, the 90 degree. Then you have 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the first corner. Okay? And the 6 is going to land on the south mark. Then after the south mark, you got 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, and then 12 is going to land on the west mark. I'm giving y'all a clock here. You see how this coming together. Then it got to reset itself because it's going into nighttime. You know how us Hebrews are. We like to separate stuff. We just like our Father. We like to separate stuff. Remember Genesis? He separated the daylight from the night. So with the night, it starts all over again. Okay? This part here becomes 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. That's representing what? The midnight hour. Okay? Then it keeps going to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 hours of night. But in this realm, where are the lights going to be shown at, y'all? Is it going to be shown in the north side or the south side?
South.
South. So now we understand why we don't see these lights always to our left. And I want to explain a little bit more because I know with the rising and setting, you can have a little bit go over, but I'm just trying to show you why you won't see these lights to the left. You will look to your right. Right means what? Upright. Just like them songs. I mean, just like them palms he's going to put in our hand. Okay. So this is the point. So I saw the theme of 6, like Adam. Then I began to see the theme of 9. Give us an understanding why we have daylight being longer than night and why night being longer than daylight. And the reason is when I take these numbers, when I look at the minutes and time, when I go from the east point to the south point, y'all, I get 360 minutes. Where did I get 360 minutes from? I convert the hours into minutes because I just said earlier, when I go from 6 to 12 noon, if you take 6 minus 12 noon, I get 6 hours. If I take 6 hours and convert it to minutes, I get 360. 60 times 6. Do y'all see how this all going back to Adam?
Yes.
So this is why he had the daylight to become long by using the 9 parts. When you look at the 9 parts, because when you convert the 9 parts, you get 40 minutes. Now, I know I'm speaking a little bit advanced, so those who are new that's following, you're going to have to watch the counter playlist to get all this this information, because I'm going to get in highlights. But I'm just showing you why we have longer daylight. Because of you, Adam, your role is to what? Sow the earth. So he gives you more daylight to work with. Yep. So when winter comes, he gives you more night to rest, because he wants you to rest from your labors. Makes sense to me. So I see the theme of 9 in this too as well. So this is where you get the 9 parts. This is where you got to have 14 hours of daylight in summer and 14 hours a night in winter. So we are now finished up with the south quadrant. Now we're going to go to the quadrant that, or the corner that is between the south and the west. Because what's between that in the Hebrew hour is the 9th hour. And we convert that to the day, into today's time is 3 o'clock, or the 3 o'clock hour. And we look at a biblical event, that is the time when he gave up the ghost and the time when the darkness ended. And he goes down to Sheol and begin to set the beginning of setting the captives free, setting Adam, all those after Adam, free from Sheol, which is hell. Because in that place was the bosom of Abraham, and the other side had hell. So he had to set the captives free so they can what? Enter into paradise. To understand what paradise is, you're gonna have to read Enoch's writings. And notice here, I'm giving y'all the degrees, okay? The degrees based off of 90 degree. Okay, so I got that written down in there. We ain't gonna worry about that right now. Also, you see me writing down, what we talked about in First Enoch chapter 72, how in the first level of heaven, remember we have 6 doors in the east, and to the left and right of the doors, we have windows, giving us understanding how we're able to see these lights come in and out, especially with the sun being darkened at noon. And we see why with these windows.
Sister.
Somebody moves. Okay.
I would love to get a copy of this chart right here.
I will as soon as I update it. I'm still working on it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So right here, now you can see how these lights are able to do what they do. Because like I say, nothing is not impossible for our Father. But we've been taught the ways of the heathen, and got to come out of that mindset and believe what the prophets tell us. Okay. So in this 9th hour of darkness, we have the anointed one going down to Sheol to set the captives free so he can take them to paradise. Now we get to the juicy part between the 2 evenings. So on the west point, because it's based off of 90 degrees, this is what's going to determine what my west point is. At 90 to 270, you get 360, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, you get 360 represent a circle. But we know when the sun is moving from that 90 point to the 270 degree point, is so far it has moved 180 degrees. It won't complete the 360 till it gets back to the east point, which is the beginning. Okay. So again, 12 hours equals 720 minutes. Okay. You see the theme of 6 because the sun go down in the 6 o'clock hour. Ain't that funny? It's happening over here in the west. Again, we spread the 4 corners of the earth. Okay. Now this is where your Sabbath day began, at the going down of the sun. At the going down of the sun. Why? You go back to Genesis, there was darkness, then came light. So at the going down the sun, then you go into darkness, then the sun come out in the morning, Because it come out in the morning, it gives you morning, noon, and then evening. Going back to this point, giving you a Sabbath day. Sabbath day is made up of daylight and night. Now, this is the reason why we start our day like this. Go back to Exodus chapter 12. When did he command the Israelites to sacrifice the lamb?
Can you repeat that, sis?
I said, when did he command the Israelites to sacrifice the lamb?
You talking about like the time?
When did he tell the Israelites to sacrifice the lamb?
It was like the like 3 p.m. So like the midnight hour.
Oh, you talking about the month, right? You talking about the month?
Give me. I want a date and I want a specific time. Date and time. When did he tell the Israelites to sacrifice the lamb?
I'm trying to get the answer from Exodus chapter 12 right now. Is it the
I heard you trying to
14th
get the
day?
answer
The
from
14th. Was
Exodus
it the
chapter 12.
14th day? Was it the 14th day?
yeah, the 14th day?
Wait a minute now. I know you ain't talking like that. Was it? Now look,
I'm
speaking
sorry.
confidence.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. On Passover on the 14th day.
Yeah, the
Okay, on Passover,
14th day.
14th day. Now, what is the time? You got to think like a Hebrew now. What was the time he told them to sacrifice it?
At
I'm
evening.
thinking 3 o'clock.
There you
maybe.
go.
Okay.
At evening.
Evening.
Now, what is evening? Now, those who have the 6, 10, 11, I keep telling y'all, don't put that 6, 10, 11 away. I ain't talking to the family with me. I'm talking about to them Israelites who runs from the 6, 10, 11 and go to the other books. Well, you forgot. The father gave YAHUAH, King James, who's actually named YAHUAH. The 6, 10, 11 has his name too in there too, for those who don't know. But had King YAHUAH to ordain or get certain scribes to write him a book, it goes back to Deuteronomy 17. A king must have a copy of the book, right? So in the 1611, the side note, it's going to break down what is evening. What does the evening mean? In Hebrew, it means between the two evenings. What is between the two evenings? The going down of the sun. Let me show you the picture. Let me show you the picture. Sister Yita came a little bit prepared today. The going down of the sun is this one. Yep. It's this one. The going down the sun is between the two evenings. Right here. Sun going down. Is between the two evenings. Right there. Why do you think he had the Israelites to sacrifice the lamb while the sun was going down? Because anybody watch how the day come in and how the day leave? Okay, let me give you that. Let me paint a picture to you, because many don't take the time out to watch how day come in and how daylight come in and how daylight leaves, and then how night come in and how night leaves. Many people don't watch that. So as daylight is leaving out, the first thing that takes place is that the sun go down completely, but light remains in the sky, but only for a period of time. So, question unto you: why do you think the Father had them to sacrifice the lamb at the going down of the sun?
It's like the same representation like when Yahusha was.
You're right. Everything that we see foreshadow what he did. But it goes a little deeper. We just read it in the articles. You got to see. You need light
Light,
to
yes,
see.
yes.
So what happened on the day when they crucified him? Because this is what they wrote in the scripture. They said the Sabbath was coming in, and they had to do something quickly. The Sabbath was coming in. That was a day of rest unto them, and no work can be done. So Joseph, who's a student of the Yahusha HaMashiach, went to Pontus to ask for his body. Because remember, he gave up the ghost in the 9th hour, which was in the 3 o'clock hour. But when you read the scriptures, they buried him somewhere else. So Joseph went to Pontus and asked him for his body, because the scriptures said that Joseph placed him in a new tomb, but he didn't have much time. He had to move quick because the Sabbath day was coming in. Remember, they ain't had no electricity. And he would bury him in a new tomb. It's like a cave. The same kind of cave that Adam and Eve was in. But anyway, so he buried him in a cave. So the same way he was buried between the 2 evenings is the same way that we sacrifice the lamb. So you want to convert that to actual timing. It's going to fall somewhere between 5:59 to 6 o'clock p.m. So they had to move. They had to move quick. Okay. Now, far as him entering into the center of the earth, going to Sheol, it started in the 9th hour, the 3 o'clock hour. But far as his earthly body, it was buried between the 2 evenings. This is all important. So that's from the south going to the west. So when you read Ezekiel writings, you can begin to understand what he's saying when it comes to the eternal house of Yahuwah. When we go and worship and praise him on his holy days and holy feast days. As the prophet Isaiah said, all flesh shall worship him on his new moon days and on his Sabbath days. And to the Israelites who solar keepers, you do have to keep a record of the new moon. That's in the Dead Sea Scrolls, giving you a hint. It's in there. Okay. So now going from the west point to the north point, only thing I just want to point out, this is the night side, right? So with the night side, all the broke down about the number 9 and how we got 9 parts and how night is 14 hours. Okay, I did all of that. And when we convert what is the hour that's in between, because this is starting over from the 1st to the 6th hour, okay, or from 6 o'clock to midnight, the number that's in between is the 3rd hour, and we convert it to our time, be 9 p.m. But we're not going to see the sign in heaven that marks midnight hour in the north. We're going to see it in the south. So it can be a cross. Okay. And also with this light, we cannot see, which is the sun, because the sun is still moving. The sun has left the first heaven or the first firmament and returned to its realm. But the sun is still moving in this circuit, going through from west to north, then from north to east, and then it's going to rise through that same door for that same month. You have to go back in the writings, see about the writings and stuff. But what I really want to point out to y'all, through this diagram, I can really see how the doors are spread out and how the windows are spread out. So the middle doors is door 4 and door 3. It falls close to the east point in this range. This is why we can see some days having, let me show you this. Like some days here, we can see why it can fall on, how can I explain this? With this. On some days, this is why we can see the sun still coming out on the same point. Okay. And then the solar is going to change because it's working itself. But for clarification, let me correct myself. Your east doors would be door 4 and door 3 in the east and in the west. In the west is door 3 and door 4. Now, for wintertime, no, for summertime, these doors would be over here. 5, door 5, and door 6, and the many windows. That would be in the quarter between the north and the east point. Okay, when the sun is rising. For winter, your doors would be door 2 and door 1, if I'm doing this correct, because I had to go back and look at those numbers, y'all. But you get what I'm saying. When you get that other chart and you line it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's another thing I got to check on. So I'll give y'all the update on that when we come back and meet. Then you have the many windows. Now, by knowing this information, we now can understand how the Father can darken the sun at noon. We also can now understand why we see the moon rising kind of like in the middle part of the day. You see it? Well, it explains why it's coming through these doors and through these windows. Okay. So with these notes, like I said, I have a picture about Genesis chapter 1, how you see it first started with darkness, then came light, and then the Father separated the light, okay? And he called the night and the daylight a day, which made the first day of creation. There's some interesting writings on creation from Enoch, Ezra, and Moshe, because Moshe wrote Jubilees and he wrote Genesis. Remember, our Father don't do it the way that we think. We've been educated by these things too long. Okay, I have a little picture about the Passover and what took place from the time the Messiah was crucified to the time he resurrected. And the sheaf we're off, which is confirmed by Josephus, is Aviv 16. It aligns on the day when the matter ceased in the book of Joshua. It also aligns with what's in Leviticus because the 15th day is a Sabbath day. Okay. So you know me, I give you some homework. Don't expect you to be perfect, but this is dealing with the sun. That's why I have daylight. For spring, my question to you about daylight, is it going to be equal or long or short? Equal, long, or short for daylight. So by knowing this, what corner would the sun rise and what corner would the sun set? You're going to do one for spring, one for summer, one for fall, and one for winter. By doing this, it's going to help you to understand and know what to look for when you go out and look at the heavens at these lights. So when you go to timeanddate.com, when it's giving you a time, when the sun will rise and when the sun will set, you know what direction to look at. Same thing with the moon. Let me go to the moon rise in time. This is what today is the 25th, for example. On the 25th day, that the moon is going to go down in the morning at 10:21. And why is that? Because the moon is just coming from being a full moon. That's why you see that. Then the moon is going to rise at 9:11 p.m. at this coordinate, at the 68-degree coordinate. So go ahead and get your compass and you can check it out to see if this website is correct. Then this is going to help you to understand Enoch's writings better. Because what the moon is now working, she's giving it work herself, going back to the east so she can what? Follow with the sun to become a new moon again. Okay?
Sis, I have a question.
Right now, okay, hold on for 1 second. So why the moon is doing that, following the sun, I'm trying to get my thought together, following the sun to going to the east to become a new moon. Oh, that's right. We're in the third week. So when we get to that fourth week, you're going to start seeing her coming out later and later till you won't be able to see her no more. Okay. What is your question?
So today, I didn't get a chance to see the East Point and the West Point because it was raining. It was like cloudy and stuff. So I can stay out here and just look at the sun going down west, so I can find the West Point.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. I think I might understand your question, but
Is it too late for me to figure out the West Point?
no. All you
Okay.
have to do is get a compass and find where 90 degree is. The compass is going to give you the east point for this year.
Okay.
So you can still find your east point with your compass because the sun rose on the 90 degree. Take a picture of that area. That'll be a landmark to compare. And what I noticed on time and date, because I went back a couple of years to see if the sun always do this. Unfortunately, it don't. There is some variation year to year. But it's going to help you to see, is the sun doing the same thing from year to year? See what I'm saying? Shalom?
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing you.
Okay. So did you understand what I was saying to you about getting a compass?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you get your compass, and wherever your compass show, which is your east point, which is 90 degree, then you take a picture of that area,
Okay.
landmark it. Then when the next year come for your east point, you take a picture of that and you compare. And the more you do it, you're going to learn. You're going to, you're going to get the other details that's not fully written out. In other words, because it's going to take time to grasp. But the more you do it, the better you become.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Okay, let me see here. So that is your homework. So now we are in the season of fall. The equinox has just passed. So now the sun will be working himself to be decreased in light. Okay. So the question you ask yourself, what is the quarter? I keep saying, quarter or corner the sun is going to rise, and what is the quarter that the sun is going to set? Because the rising and the setting of the sun will determine how much night we will have, as written by the prophet. All right, y'all, this has been a long class. I had kept y'all. I do apologize. We had some technical difficulty, but all praises to y'all. As y'all give us more, we will share. Remember, no one should be charging you for the calendar. Like I said, it's a lot of things I see going on, but you know what? Father gonna deal with it. He's gonna judge them. All right. Continue, my brothers and sisters, to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for it's truly at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, and his apostles continued in both. Now, if you have no one to baptize you, remember, you can do this yourself. Exercise your faith with works. Wherever there's water, ye can be baptized. For the water is the second witness in the earth, and his heaven and his earth is a witness too, as we have shared in this lesson. And the same is with the Holy Spirit baptism. You don't have to go to any synagogue, any assembly, or any church building, or anyone. That can be given unto you freely by the Father himself. All you have to do is ask in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, and it will be given unto you according to your heart, your faith, and works. Remember, Father knows best, because when you receive that, I'm telling y'all, comes power, knowledge, and wisdom. And unfortunately, Some of us allow pride to get on us, the spirit of pride. So the Father's about saving soul, delivering people, so they won't be condemned eternally to Sheol. So he gives according to your heart, to your faith and your works. And we say, Shalom, love you all, and see you the next time. Okay, recording is still going on.